The first DJI Mic Mini setting that you need to know about is the receiver gain control, and this is actually the only physical control on this whole system. You use this gain control knob to alter the amount of signal going down the audio cable into your camera. If your audio signal is too low or your videos are too quiet, then you can increase this. You can either use plus 6 dB, or if that's still too quiet, change it to plus 12 dB. And if your videos are too loud, you can change this to negative 6 dB. And if that's still too loud, negative 12 dB. And the middle setting is 0, which means the receiver's not going to amplify or reduce any volume going to the camera. It's like the default setting. For all of the other settings, both for the receiver and the transmitter, you're going to need to use the DJI Mimo app. This means you're going to have to connect your phone via Bluetooth to the transmitters and also the receiver to change the settings. So you're going to want to open up your Bluetooth settings on your phone and then power on the transmitter by holding the power button down for 2 seconds, and then you're going to want to hold down the linking button for 2 seconds until this light flashes blue and green. That means you're in Bluetooth pairing mode, and you can see in the phone here it's located this DJI Mic Mini. So I'm going to tap on that to connect the transmitter to the phone via Bluetooth. It's now connected, and now we can go and open up the DJI Mimo app. Right, we're going to tap on connect, and now we get the DJI Mic Mini transmitter settings. By the way, this procedure is also what you do when you want to update the firmware for the transmitters and receivers. So the first setting here is this auto off setting, and it's on by default, but you can tap it to turn it off. And when this is turned on, after 15 minutes of time when the transmitter is not connected to the receiver, it's going to automatically power off the transmitter. So this is one way to save power if you're running low on juice. This next setting, power button for noise cancellation. If you want to be able to turn on the inbuilt noise cancellation features, we'll look at noise cancellation options when we look at the receiver in a minute, but what you can do is when this toggle switch is on for this transmitter is that while you're connected to the receiver, you can just press the power button and the light's going to turn yellow, and that's going to tell you that you've turned on the DJI Mic Mini noise cancellation. And the final thing here is this mic LED. If I toggle this switch, watch what happens to the LED. So this unit or this transmitter is still powered on, and the benefit for this is if you've got it on somebody and you don't want that light to be distracting, you can make sure everything's working and then come back in here and turn it off. Tap the exit button on the screen. It's going to give us this warning, and I'm just going to hit exit, and now we can go and disconnect the DJI Mic Mini from our Bluetooth settings in the phone. And that's really it when it comes to transmitter settings. Let's take a look next at the settings for the DJI Mic Mini receiver. Now, the important thing to notice here is that this receiver is currently powered off, and it needs to be in that powered off state. Once it's in that powered off state, what we're going to do is find the power button, and we're going to hold that power button in for 6 seconds. And after 6 seconds, the status light should start blinking blue on and off. For the receiver, we don't have to go into the Bluetooth settings. All we need to do is head back to the Mimo app, and you can see here we've got the receiver showing up. Now I'm going to tap connect, and now we can see all of the settings for the receiver. All right, let's start off with these noise cancelling options. We just saw in the transmitter settings that we could enable or disable the ability to turn on and off noise cancelling from the transmitter. And if you have that option turned on, then it's going to enable one of these 2 types of noise cancellation. So basic noise cancellation is really designed for use in quieter indoors situations. Maybe you've got a little bit of noise from an air conditioner, maybe a little bit of noise from a fan or some reverb or echo in the room, and that's what you want to use this basic noise cancellation mode for. If you're in a noisier indoor environment or you're outside and there's a lot of traffic noise, a lot of hustle and bustle, then you can set this to strong mode. Now, strong mode will try and cut through all of that background noise and just bring out the sound of you talking, but it might also make your voice sound a little bit weird, a little bit unnatural, but at least you'll be able to hear yourself. Another option is to use something like DaVinci Resolve's voice isolation effect, which also does a really good job of getting rid of all the background noise and just letting you hear the talking. The next setting you can make use of is this audio channel setting. Currently this is set to stereo, but you can also switch it to mono. This setting affects the signal that goes down the audio cable into your camera's microphone input. When this is set to mono, you're only going to get one channel of distinct, unique audio data going down that cable into your camera and into your video file. Now this is okay if you're just using one transmitter, but if you're using two transmitters and you don't want their voices to be combined into one channel, all mingled together, then you can change this to stereo. What stereo means is that when you're using two transmitters, the person wearing transmitter 1 is going to have their audio signal sent down one side of the stereo signal, for example the left side, and the person wearing the second transmitter is going to have their voice go down the other side of that stereo signal. And when you open up your video editing software, you can see the left and right channels of a stereo signal, and all that means is that in your video editing software you can split out the left and right signals from the stereo signal, and then you can adjust each person individually in your video editing software. You might want to decrease the overall volume of person 1, and you might want to increase the volume of the second person if they're really timid and have a very quiet voice. And that also means that you can do other audio effects to individual people, like adding EQ. You can see at the minute that this is set to stereo, and when this is set to stereo, this safety track option is grayed out, and it means that we can't actually use it in stereo mode. But if I change to mono mode, you can see now the safety track option gets shown properly, and we can turn this on or off. The safety track option means that it's still going to make use of that stereo left and right signal going down the wire into your camera, but what it means is that on one side of that stereo signal you're going to have the normal amount of volume, and this is going to be influenced by the receiver gain setting, but on the other side of that stereo signal you're going to get a quieter copy of that same audio. What this means is that if you're recording something and you accidentally shout or scream or talk too loud just for one small part, it means you can use that second copy at that lower volume in your audio editing software to make sure you've still got usable audio that's not clipping, it's not overloaded, it doesn't sound terrible. The reason you can't choose the safety track mode in stereo mode is because you've already got signals going down the left and right channels of the stereo signal, so there isn't a third channel you can use for that safety track. So if you're recording yourself or someone else using just a single transmitter, then I would highly suggest that you turn on the safety track feature in mono mode, as long as you're comfortable with manipulating the stereo signal in your video editing software. Alright, let's move on to this low cut setting. When you turn this on, it's going to filter out any of those lower frequency sounds like rumbling of traffic or other kinds of bass rumbling low frequency sounds. Now I usually have this turned off in my other DJI mics because I'm comfortable using the EQ tool in the video editing software, and I can do exactly the same thing. I can do a low cut when I'm editing the video, so I prefer to have all of the audio data being recorded, and then I can modify that however I want when I'm editing the video. The next feature we've got is this audio off feature. You can disable that or enable it, and what this means is that after 15 minutes the receiver will automatically power off to save power if it's not being used. The next setting is really cool, and that's this auto on off with camera. If this is turned off, then you're going to need to manually turn on the receiver when you want to record, but if this is turned on and you have your audio cable connected from the receiver to your camera, when you turn the camera on, the receiver is going to notice that and it's going to automatically turn on. This is a feature I had years and years ago when I was using the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus microphone, and it's just a really nice little feature. The final setting here is this clipping control, and what this will do is it will notice if the volume level has gone way too high, and it will limit that volume level before it sends it down the audio cable to the camera to be recorded in the video file, because if you send too high a volume down that cable, it's going to distort and clip in the video file, and it's going to sound terrible. But you shouldn't really need this if you've set up the gain on your camera and your receiver properly, and if you want to learn how to correctly set the gain and also your camera settings to work with the DJI Mic Mini, check out this video next. It's for Sony cameras, but it will also apply to all other cameras. Make sure you subscribe for more DJI Mic Mini videos. I'm Jason Roberts, and I'll see you in the next one.